It's the 8 for 52 podcast.
Hi, I'm Butters.
G'day, Bushy here.
This is episode 17 and the first for 2024. I think it's the episode 17, Bushy, isn't it?
It's correct.
Beautiful. It's the 8 for 52 podcast and we are back, baby. You can get us, you can DM us on Insta or you can email us at...
Don't ask me.
I reckon we should drop that part.
It's been 5 weeks. I can't remember the email address. Is it podcast852@icloud.com?
It is, but it's irrelevant anyway because everyone gets us on Insta and they have over the break, Bushy.
Oh, we've got messages, do we?
They have. Tom Ingram.
Ah, yes, Tom.
For one. Craigengau Cricket Club, currently running last of Saturday Division 1. He assures us they will not get relegated.
It's a big call.
I don't know what he's watching. I mean, he sent the message 2 weeks ago during the break, and they came out last weekend and got absolutely pumped.
Does it say what time the message was sent? Was it like a 2 a.m. angry post, or was this during the midday?
It was very polite. As always, Tom opens with, "Hello, chaps. Love the work."
Oh, lovely.
Catching up on podcasts, I assure you that we will not be relegated. And I think they got rolled for 59 a couple of days later.
Wow.
Anyway, we'll get to that later on in the outs and ins. Oh, welcome to 2024. We are back, baby, and we're ready to fire into a huge second half of the season, and what a second half it is. We've got local men's internationals coming out of our absolute proverbials, Bushies. We've got men's under-19s off to Malaysia for a pre-tour before they begin their quest to qualify for the next under-19 World Cup. They're in the Division 2 qualifiers, kicking that campaign off. Our women's team are down in Bunbury, Western Australia for 2 weeks, wherever the hell that is.
Easy, Tiger.
What, Bunbury, Western Australia?
Bushy's from Bunbury, Western Australia.
Oh, what's it like? What are the girls experiencing in Bunbury, Bushy?
The ground they're playing on.
Your home ground.
The ground they're playing on, and I've seen some photos of, is set right on the beach. There's just a road, and then there's the beach and some rocks, and it's an absolutely beautiful ground down in Bunbury.
Beautiful, beautiful part of the world, Western Australia. Well, they're down there on a pre-tour, preparing for their upcoming Asia Cup qualifiers, and I tell you what, they'll be getting great experience down there playing against some of the local Western Australian sides. It's absolutely fantastic. Also, the women's under-19s are heading off to Malaysia, Bushy.
Yep.
That's brilliant, getting a women's under-19s together as well as the men's now. That's fantastic. Premier League Grand Final this weekend. And we've got interviews with both captains coming up.
How exciting is that?
Kinchit, Shah, Jamie Atkinson. What else have we got on the show, Bushy?
All last week's games covered in outs and ins, and the tables have really taken shape during our break across all divisions. Ins and outs with all the Premier League Grand Final stuff as well as a huge Sunday Division 2 clash. 4 Sat Div 1 matches and the 2 in Saturday Div 2. Sky Plaza Road could go on for 2 hours today.
It could very well do with the amount of international we've got to talk about. We will try to keep it under 2 hours, though. And we'll get it to later in the podcast. But first, Bushy, I mean, that's all exciting and that's fantastic and it's all coming up. But I want to know, we've been on our Christmas break, Bushy. We've been away. I was down in Oz for a little while. Where'd you go?
Singapore and Malaysia.
Yeah, okay.
Warm and wet.
Yeah, but that's fine. That's where we've been. But where are our listeners coming from over the break?
Well, I knew this question was coming, and before I had put up the information on the website, I was prepared to say, hey, bots, we've been off for 5 weeks. No one's listening. There's no podcast to listen to. But I did find a little nugget. We have new listeners in Tashkent.
Tashkent?
Tashkent.
Is that Uzbekistan?
The capital of.
Goodness me. Uzbekistan. We are breaking boundaries.
I know, right? I saw that flag and went, what flag's that? Tashkent? Okay.
Cricket is huge in Uzbekistan.
Apparently.
8 for 52 podcast, huge in Uzbekistan. Fantastic.
Well, hello to whoever is in Tashkent listening in.
Beautiful, beautiful. All right. For all you listeners in Uzbekistan, Tashkent, we're going to announce the under-19s men's team that's going to go away to the Div 2 qualifiers in Thailand after a pre-tour to Malaysia, and congratulations to all these boys. Malaysia pre-tour matches are on February 12, 14, 16. The boys will fly out February 10, and then the Division 2 qualifiers in Thailand, February 25 to March 5. Congratulations to all these players. Arez Dar, Arya Panjwani, Shiv Mathur, Matthew Clayton, Will Walsh, Taran Lungani, Harry Hodgson, Danny Mapp, Sufyan Khan, Cheyenne Puri, Parth Sharvast, Abiron Murali Ganasan, Rishan Shah, Krish Bhutani. What do you think of that squad, Bushy?
Yeah, it's a very strong squad to go overseas. Looking forward to it.
Yeah, it does look like that, doesn't it? I mean, the boys, the previous under-19s, got out of Division 2 and got promoted and were guaranteed a spot in Division 1, but Singapore have been kicked out.
Oh, dear.
Singapore have not got enough juniors at a level to be eligible to play anymore. So the whole structure of the competition has been restructured. Hong Kong stay in Div 2, work their way out into Division 1 via finishing first and second. And I think looking at that squad, they've got a big chance.
We would have been in Div 1, but because Singapore doesn't have enough players, we're in Div 2?
Yeah, well, Singapore went up as well, and it's just on numbers, just on the structure of competitions. They've restructured Div 2 for the amount of teams in the comp.
That doesn't sound fair.
Hey, this is ICC we're talking about.
Oh, yeah, fair.
Don't worry about fair.
We've been there before.
Yeah,
I don't need the bleep button again.
Don't get me started on that. Just looking at that squad, though, there's one big out there, Bushy.
There is.
There's a big out there, a young man who played in the last World Cup qualifiers and also the Asia Cup qualifiers isn't in there, and I know he's still eligible on age.
He is, because his birthday was just last October, turning 17, so well underneath. Samad Khan.
Yeah, Samad Khan, he would have added a lot to that middle order there, no doubt about it, but unavailable for selection, so therefore not selected. So it's still a strong team, though.
I want to point out the first name listed, Erez Dar. He came out to open last weekend for a team, Little Saiwan, who didn't have enough players. Obviously, he's only under 19s. I think he's 17 or 18. Absolutely well played. He faced the opening bowlers from the team that won every game, KCC Premier, and went out there and was the only batter to really hold his bat. So looking forward to seeing him and the rest of the team. Congratulations, of course. Absolute superstars in the making.
Just on Erez Dar, not only that, I mean, he knocked up a half century in that game and he really held his own. He did play in the last World Cup qualifiers as well as opening bat in a lot of the games. So that experience will do him the world of good coming into this time round. So, look, all the very best to those boys. We think that squad's good enough to get through. Just wish them all the very best. Women's under-19s, we touched on in Malaysia as well. They're playing February 10, 12, 13, maybe one other game, I'm not sure. 3 or 4 games down there, so it's fantastic. No My Story this week, as we've got the grand final skippers coming up very, very soon, Kinchit and Jamie. We touched on that before. Before we get to that, just want to talk a little bit about the Premier League and the whole season. A lot of it was played over the break. Daniel Bukhari from KCC, leading run scorer for Premier League so far, 258 runs at an average of 129. He's been an absolute gun in the middle order, Bushy.
Absolutely, and a new recruit coming across from Pakistan Association to KCC. 258 at an average of 129. The game I called, not last weekend, but the weekend before, was the first time he got out.
Yeah, I know.
He had no average until he got out for a 42.
Yeah, it's unreal. I mean, of course, it's Kowloon Cricket Club versus Hong Kong Cricket Club this coming Sunday up at Mission Road, the national ground. Daniel Bukhari ranked number 1 overall. Jamie Atkinson ranked number 2 and batting 195 last week. Thank you very much. 249 overall. He's seeing him well, Bushy.
Yeah, that was quite the innings. His last 42 runs came off 12 balls.
It's unbelievable, unbelievable. When you look at the Hong Kong Cricket Club team, you've got Martin Katea, he's 4th overall at the moment with 178 runs, always destructive, always dangerous. We'll talk more about it later on when we get to the ins and outs. I think that'll do us to open it up. Are we ready to get on with the show, Bushy?
Let's giddy up. This weekend, it's the huge Cricket Hong Kong One-Day Premier League Series final between Kowloon Cricket Club Premier and Hong Kong Cricket Club Premier. Let's hear from the captains.
One-Day Premier League final coming up this weekend at Mission Road, and it's with great pleasure that we have the captain of the Hong Kong Cricket Club Premier League side with us, Kinchit Shah. Welcome.
Thanks, Borders. Thanks, Boshi.
Are you looking forward to this weekend?
100%. Super excited to be playing in the finals again. We were defending champions last year. Hopefully we can defend the cup again this year. KCC, they've been performing really well and hoping it's going to be a very good game this Sunday.
How are you feeling? How's the squad feeling going in?
The squad's been quite positive over the last 2 weekends. We've been playing some really good cricket. We've been bowling all right. We've been chasing scores down quite well and convincingly. Last week we chased down 248 against USRC with 6 wickets in hand, and the same the week before against PACC with 5 wickets in hand. Those comfortable victories for us. Teams looking positive, solid, and ready to go again this Sunday.
Now, the one game that Hong Kong Cricket Club did lose, that was against the table leaders KCC, who you were playing on the weekend. But you didn't play that game, did you? You were away in India for the birth of your child, I believe.
Yes. It was. We were expecting a child, a baby boy, now. I was back in India for that, for the birth of my first child.
Well, congratulations on that.
Thank you so
That's
much.
magnificent, Kinchit. Congratulations.
Thanks, Boris. Thanks, Washi.
Now, that game you didn't play, the team lost. It's the only game that the Hong Kong Cricket Club has lost this season.
Correct.
The team last week, Shiv Mehta played that game. He wasn't in last week. The team has you back in it. Is that the 11 you're looking at taking into Tin Kwong Road Recreation Ground this weekend?
It's hard to give away. We've got some good players who haven't played yet, but are still in potentially who could be playing on Sunday. We've got Sahal.
Well, he's our boy. We want him in Sunday. He's been on the podcast. He's tremendous. He was the
he's
last interview of last year. Tremendous young man.
Sahal has been batting really well. Sunday Div 2 and Saturday Div 1. He's been scoring a lot of runs. So he's in the mix right there. Charlie Wallace is back available. So he's in the mix.
Oh, right.
Shiv is in the mix as well. So we're still yet to decide. We've got training tonight up there at HKCC, and then probably sit down and have a chat.
Could be a few surprises there. That's fantastic. Fantastic. Now, we've mentioned a couple of times already, the game is out at Mission Road. It's not very many matches between KCC and HKCC out at Mission Road. What's your thoughts on that?
Absolutely. I mean, as a player who's been grown up, who's played all this cricket at in Hong Kong at KCC and HKCC, would love to have a club finals at one of the clubs. Unfortunately, if KCC was unavailable, we would love to have hosted it at HKCC.
I'm sure you would have.
Yeah, we 100% would have. I mean, club environment, having families around, having people watching it is always a feel-good factor for the players as well. So having that motivation, having people watching it, especially one of the best games in the whole calendar year in domestic cricket. So would love to have it up here or at HKCC, but Mission Road's obviously an international ground. We've got some national players who are going to be playing end of Jan and first week of Feb in the ODI series and the T20I series. So it's good prep for them too.
Absolutely. We'll touch on the internationals in a minute, actually. I mean, last week you scored a big 100, tremendous 100.
Thank you.
Cramped up a little bit towards the end, or more than just a little bit maybe. Everything all right now?
No, all good now. Fit to go and ready for Sunday.
Brilliant. Just looking at the performances throughout the year, Martin Coetzee has been your leading run scorer. You're right up there as well, of course, after that 100 at it. Put together a wonderful 88. Nazakat's probably been a little bit out of the runs for the quality that he is.
Absolutely. I mean, we expect more from our national players and for them to lead from the front. Nazakat has been up and down, but we have full confidence in him. If you've seen, we haven't really changed our batting order much through Sundays and Prem, either it being Scorps or it being the Prem team. We haven't really changed the batting order much, and we have full faith in our players.
And I look at the KCC side, and their 8th leading run scorer this year and 23rd overall, scored 60 runs across 4 games, is Bubba Hyatt. So you're not worried about him?
He's always a dangerous player. He's always one that, when you have him, that's a big relief for any captain or any bowler in Hong Kong. So he's obviously one of the biggest players, but we know KCC bat deep. We've seen that in the past. We've seen that last year where you have number 7, number 8 coming in and scoring runs. So we realize that now, and we know the bat till 8-9, and we just need to keep fighting hard. The game's never finished.
I'll ask you the same question I'll ask Jamie later on. You played all 4 Premier League games up the hill at Hong Kong Cricket Club. KCC played 3 here plus 1 up there. So no team has played at Tin Kwong Road Recreation Ground this season. Correct. For the one-day series.
Correct.
Which team do you feel is going to be more comfortable going to a ground they've not played on this season?
I would say the team with the most national players in it, because national team training sessions happen twice a week at Tin Kwong Road. They play center wicket, they practice there. They know how the outfield is, they know how the wickets are. So the teams with the most national players would have the most advantage.
And that would
Going
be
in.
you guys with Martin and Nazaka, Rag, Ayush, and
Just an opinion, but these guys train there. It's their home ground for the national team.
Yep.
So if I'm probably very confident going in to Sunday being at Mission Road as well, because we've got players who practice their day in and out.
Just looking at the bowling side, Luke Jones, third highest wicket taker across the season so far with 9 wickets, and Adil Mahmood not far behind on 7. It's a pretty strong bowling lineup.
Absolutely, we've got 6 or 7 bowlers to choose from. We've got quality attack. We've got Haroon back in form. Bowled a really good spell last week. Jonesy has been one of our leading spinners for the team. He's taken wickets, not given away too many runs. Couple of changes in his not action, but he's got a couple of more weapons in him now. So he's got the other one, he's got the flipper, he's got the one turning away. So
Brilliant.
So which is what a leg spinner needs.
To be very handy out of Mission Road as well, of course.
Absolutely.
You've touched on the internationals. We've spoken about it in the podcast a lot this episode. A lot of international cricket coming up. Is Kinchit Shah available?
Unfortunately not. I have to travel back to India. My brother's wedding is during CNY.
Okay.
So I have to be back in India.
You've been in and out of India, babies, weddings, all happening over there for you, mate. No, it's a great time of life for you.
It is.
And for the rest of the team who may be available, I'm assuming that this weekend's going to be sort of a massive training test. I'm sure Simon Willis is going to, if he's in town, will be down there watching. Chris Pickett will be watching with the analysts. So they're all going to be looking to get a Guernsey in that international series coming up 10 days later.
Yeah, I think it's the best prep anyone can get. Like, if you know you're going to be playing there in 2 weeks' time, it's ideal to have a proper game before leading up to an international series on the very same ground.
Yeah, it's a massive game, and Hong Kong Cricket Club defending champions from the podcast, the 8 for 52 podcast. We wish you all the best, Kinchit, and all the very best. Good luck on the weekend up at Mission Road, and Bush will be up there calling it. He'll see you. I might drop in myself. Who knows?
Perfect.
Right,
Thank
mate.
you, guys.
Thanks for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me as well. And hopefully you guys are supporting HKCC.
Well,
Sunday.
we're neutral when it comes to commentary. You know that, Kinchit. That's fine. Cheers, mate. Thanks for joining us.
Hi, I'm Waqas Barkat, and you're listening to the 8 for 52 podcast with Borders and Bushy.
All right, we've just heard from the Hong Kong Cricket Club captain Kinchit Shah, and with us now is the captain of the Kowloon Cricket Club, Mr. Jamie Atkinson. Jamie, welcome.
Thanks very much for having me.
How are you feeling going into Sunday? How's the squad feeling?
Very excited. Always great to play in a final, and also great to play against our great rivals HKCC. So obviously bragging rights on the line come Sunday afternoon.
He didn't make the one-day final last year, Kowloon Cricket Club.
Yeah, it was a disappointing campaign. Well, the 50 over was a disappointing campaign last year. I know we lost to Hong Kong Cricket Club and to PACC. So it's definitely been better this season. We're 100% record, 4 from 4, but again, that doesn't mean much. A final's a one-off game, so form goes out the window. Best team on the day will take the trophy home.
Well, on that point, and I asked Kinchit as well, neither side has played at Tin Kwong Road Recreation Ground for the one-day series so far. You played 3 here, 1 up the hill. They played all 4 up the hill. Which team do you feel is better suited for this final at Tin Kwong Road?
Well, I know we haven't played at Tin Kwong Road this season. Well, both teams, like you mentioned, but a lot of the team, or even our team and their team, have played a lot of cricket there. I know they've got a lot of national players who are training there every week. We've got a few of the national squad in our team as well who are training there every week, so I think we've been having a look at the wicket this week, but I know we've got a well-balanced attack. I know we've always gone in with our 3 seamers, and also we've got the spinners to back it up if it is turning out there on Sunday. I know traditionally there is a bit of spin out there, so I think we're pretty well suited. I know they've got spinners in their lineup too, so I think it's 2 pretty well-balenced sides going at it for the final on Sunday.
So has Bubba and Azaz given you any tips about what the pitch is looking like for this weekend?
The one they've been playing on this week at training, if it's the same one, it'll be a used one. If it is that one, I don't know whether Jashim's preferred a fresh one for the final. Maybe we'll find out.
Do you get a preference on which pitch, because it's your home game, The game has to be played there because of commitments at Kowloon Cricket Club? Or
I've never even thought of that, but maybe that's something to look into for next time.
do
you get to choose the pitch.
Do you get to tell Jason, oh, we want extra roller or no extra roller because it's your home game?
Actually, no, we definitely didn't do that, but maybe it's a bit like Australia putting out good wickets for themselves when they're playing at home, and then obviously India put out some decent wickets. I mean, England would never put a wicket out to suit themselves, so we'll see, I guess.
No, never. Yeah. Well said, Jamie. Just looking at the performance of the team. Obviously, gone through undefeated so far. Daniel Bakari, the leading run scorer across the whole competition, scored 258 runs at an average of 129. Thank you very much. And number 2 across the whole competition is yourself, having only played the 3 games so far, 249, an average of 83. So, been a lot of runs in the middle order.
Yeah, the middle order have saved us in a couple of games. We've had a couple of poor starts in some games, which is an area that we had identified we were a little bit disappointed with. So hopefully that changes on Sunday. We get a nice platform laid for us by the top order. I mean, Danielle's been superb for us. He's been Mr. Reliable in there in the middle order, and again, it's been setting up some fantastic scores for us to defend throughout the tournament.
Looking at your bowling, Atiq Iqbal, the ever reliable superstar that he is, he's the leading wicket taker for the tournament. He's taken 11 wickets so far at an average of just 12.
I mean, Atiq is Mr. Consistent. I mean, in the Premier League, I think most teams, the first bowler they're looking at to see is playing for KCC. Is Atiq injured this week? Oh, great, he's not playing this week. But he's never injured. He's the fittest man in Hong Kong. He's the most consistent man in Hong Kong. So, I mean, we're hoping that he continues that form.
Is there any chance he plays for the Infidels on Sunday instead?
He's kindly said he'll come and play for the Premier League rather than Infidels on Sunday with the clash.
What about on your opposition side? I mean, Martin Coetzee, he's ranked 4 overall. He's their leading run scorer, 178. Nazakat probably hasn't had the 3 games that he's wanted. He's had the 93 runs. Archie is 75 runs off his 4 games, only averaging below 20 at the moment.
Well, I think I would say we've struggled with the top order in a few of our games, but I mean they've been pretty solid with their top order. I know last game they found themselves in a bit of bother at 50 for 3, and then obviously a fantastic innings from Kinchit with his 100. But in terms of their strength as well, we know if you look at the last tournament for Hong Kong, that the 1-2-3 was the HKCC 1-2-3, so we know what damage they can cause at the top of the innings. So it's we'll definitely be hoping to pick up some early wickets and see the back of those 3 at the start of the game.
Now, you mentioned that sometimes the top order has been a little wonky, but it's always the middle order has saved it. I've called 3 of the 4 Premier League games of KCC this season. The one other, if Hong Kong Cricket Club were looking at anything, is KCC's somewhat inability to close out a game and close off a game that they probably should win in 25, 30 overs, and it goes over 40 overs. Is that something the team's looked at and how to close out the game, and especially in the final?
I think, for us, it can be frustrating when you can't pick up those last few wickets, but in terms of the margin of victories we've had have been very convincing. So, I mean, we've been happy. A lot of the times, a few of those teams have just sort of set up shop and they've not really tried to attack that target, and obviously they're falling further and further behind the run rate, and we've won the game quite convincingly. So it hasn't been too much of an issue for us.
And that was something we also saw in the 2-day game, where basically KCC had control the entire time and ground the game into submission to the point where HKCC said, okay, enough, let us off the hook here, and the game's over. And so that, while it's looked on paper and perhaps watching live, the game's gone on too long, you're saying that it's been part of the game plan, basically, that that the teams, you can't catch you.
Exactly, and I mean, once you see the run rate continues to go up, it starts to put pressure on the other team. That's when they're going to start to make mistakes. If you do put runs on the board in the final, there's always going to be that scoreboard pressure. As soon as you let people know as well, the run rate's going up 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 runs and over, and then that's how you hopefully see out the game.
Just a lazy 195 last week for Jamie Atkinson.
Oh no, it went pretty well. Yeah, I was pretty happy with that.
16 sixes, 16 fours.
Lost
9 balls.
And they had to recover 1 from the swimming pool. You lost all 10.
The water's out of the pool. So
yeah, that's why they got the ball back. Mania went looking for another ball. You got 1 ball back. He actually, 2 of the balls that they were playing with at the end were KCC balls.
You were seeing them okay?
Yeah,
beach balls.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I started the innings well. I felt confident once I got a few boundaries early on, and that always feels nice. Get off the mark pretty quickly, and you start to settle in after that.
internationals coming up. We spoke about it in the opener. We're going to speak in detail about it at Sky Plaza Road. Jamie Atkinson available for any of those internationals coming up?
Yeah, I put some availability forward, so I mean, hopefully can get involved in some of those series. I know there's a lot of cricket coming up, so I mean, it's hard for me to try and put available for all of those just with my work commitments. So I mean, I've been speaking to Simon and hopefully, and also the national setup, and hopefully try and be involved at some point.
We mentioned it and asked Kinchit as well, and we'll ask you the same question. This game is basically a training run for the internationals, so there's added pressure of not only just being the Cricket Hong Kong One Day 324 victors, but you're also basically going to be under the spotlight this weekend.
Under the spotlight to some extent. I know for people who are pushing their claims forward, but I think if you look at the team, like I mean, you're a team man, like you have all these guys at KCC. You'd take a duck in the final if it means your team wins. You don't take 100 and lose. You take the duck and you win. That's the main thing to get over the line.
Jamie, it's up at Mission Road on Sunday. We wish you all the very best. You're up against the defending champions. I know you didn't make the final last year, and what it'll mean to you to win this one this year. We wish you all the very best from the 8 for 52 podcast, and look forward. Bush will be up there commentating. He won't be cheering on. He's neutral, of course.
I'll be having a chat in the middle.
That's right. But all the very best, mate, to you and the squad. We really look forward to watching it.
Thank you very much.
Good luck.
Thank you.
It's time for Outs and Ends, a full wrap of senior cricket games in Hong Kong from last weekend. Here's Botters.
All right, Outs and Ends. Big part of the season was across the Christmas break. Come back. Watched a lot of it while I was away, actually, over the various social media channels. And tell you what, there was no real surprises with the table. We've ended up exactly as predicted. KCC versus HKCC. LSW down the bottom. Didn't win a game. Didn't look like winning a game. To be honest, too predictable for mine as far as the competition is concerned. Gets back to my views a few weeks ago about changing up the Premier League. I'll tell you what, it was really interesting. I had some feedback on Insta. Jonathan Tidger supporting my views as far as Premier League draft. One of the players during the week came up to me and said, look, I'd be interested in hearing your opinion on this chat about potentially changing the Premier League to a draft format. What's your view? I said, well, as far as I'm aware, it was my suggestion, but I don't know, maybe someone suggested it before me. But I said, it's actually my view. So anyway, and that obviously wasn't a podcast listener, so word is getting around. But anyway, look, I mean, it's great.
Hang on. They weren't a podcast listener.
Well,
did you pull them up on that?
Well, if they were a podcast listener, they would have known it was my idea, I would suspect. Anyway, the point is, I just think I'm looking forward to the grand final this weekend. Really excited about it. I think it's the two best teams. But overall, the season hasn't really been an upset, right?
No. I mean, the only game that was of interest after about the first two rounds was obviously Hong Kong Cricket Club versus Pakistan Association Cricket Club, because that was basically the semi-final to see who was going to play KCC in the final. Yeah.
And LSW, they've got their problems. A fantastic club, steeped in history, right? Really going through a bad time at the moment. We'll get down to it later when we get to Sunday League, but they're every chance of being relegated to Division 2 next year as far as Sunday League's concerned. Anyway, that comes later on. Outs and ins. What happened last weekend? KCC, as we mentioned, played LSW. KCC batted first, and for a while there, they were in a spot of bother. They were 3 for 14 and 4 for 34, 5 for 95, and LSW, in their minds, they're thinking, hang on, we might actually win this. Then a man was out there called Jamie Atkinson, and he came in at 4, and he had very much other ideas. And 138 balls later, via 16 fours and 16 sixes, meaning 160 of his total of 195 was in boundaries. And with the support from Chris Carter, who did superbly well, 76 off 74, but overshadowed by Jamie, they got 6 for 341, a partnership of 228.
Now, that 3 for 14, which is where Jamie came in, was on the back of a ring-in, because Shahriar Khan played for Little Saiwan this weekend. I think they were so short on players. No DJ Rao, so they didn't have no Haris Muhammad, so they had no bowlers apart from David. So Shahriar's come across from USRC and played for Little Saiwan in the final game. So he should have been up the hill against HKCC. Comes down here, absolutely, as like we saw him at All-Stars, bowling beautiful spells, early wickets, had KCC in all sorts of bother, but then the ball got a bit soft. Well, the ball didn't get soft. What I will say is that Little Saiwan, Miniadar, the coach of the day, came with a bag of balls that had 10 balls in it.
10 balls, yeah.
He went home with one.
Right.
And that one was actually fished out of the dried out swimming pool because it went over the top of the swimming pool pavilion.
Atkinson into the pool, yeah? Not for the first time in his career. Goodness me.
So Little Siwan went out to bat. I mean, they were never going to chase this down. They were all out for 177 and finish off the season with another disappointment. But the highlight, we mentioned it a bit earlier in the intro, the under-19 rep, Arez Dar, with a 56. I also liked his bowling, and also all three of the youngsters that bowled. They had three under-17s.
Yeah, good on them.
3 under-19s.
Good
really.
on them. Really struggling at the moment, playing a lot of juniors in there, looking long-term. Good experience for those young fellas. So LSW, they'll bounce back, but not a season to remember for them. What was the other game? HKCC, USRC. USRC put up 7 for 247, which is very competitive total. Wakas Khan, absolutely fantastic. He led the way with 90 not out. Imi also did well. He got 47.
He might come up in the birthdays later on as well. Now, that game probably was the higher rating of the two, because I would suggest that everyone from Pakistan Association was watching that game with fingers and toes crossed, hoping that USRC could get an upset and somehow Pakistan Association could make it into the final. But it wasn't going to happen. HKCC ran it down easy in the 41st over, and an 100 retired out, hurt from the bloke we just heard from, Kinchit Shah, the captain. Out, and an 88 off 89 from Adegorowara led the charge.
Yeah, so it's grand final time. Kowloon Cricket Club undefeated on 8. They're going to play Hong Kong Cricket Club, the defending champions, on 6. Pakistan Association finished on 4, 2 wins, 2 losses. USRC had the 1 win on 2, and LSW lost all 4 of their games. So, yeah, looking forward to the weekend. And, of course, it'll be live on the Facebook, will it? On Cricket Hong Kong Facebook?
We're hoping.
You calling?
Definitely Cricket Hong Kong Facebook. We're working on other modes of delivery, but also into India on Fancode as always. And I will be commentating. We're going to start live at about 8:59. Game starts at 9:30.
All right, brilliant. Sunday Division 1. I mean, it's been in hibernation while Premier League's going on, and it comes back full on next week. But there actually was one game during the break on Christmas Eve. It was the USRC in-house derby where the Vagabonds absolutely flogged USRC Elite. Elite batted first, with the top 4 putting 3 runs together between them before scrounging their way to 146 all out in just 37 overs.
The promoted Vagabonds did it easy in the 33rd with 4 wickets in hand.
Yeah, we'll talk about the table there in a minute. I'll just go through the leaderboards first. Sunday Div 1, Anshi Rath. He's only played 2 games and he leads the way on 174 at an average of 74. Shahid Wasif, 164 at 32. Nazaka Khan, again, only played the 2 games. He's 144 at 144. Bowling leaderboard, Waqar Dawood from USRC with 9 wickets. Luke Jones, Paris Benny Singh from the Vagabonds, and Ali Hussain Jr. from USRC Elite, all equal on 7. Just looking at the table, Bushy, this is really interesting. Touched on it in the opener. LSW sitting down there on 3 points. They've played 7 games, no wins, 4 losses, and a few washouts to give them their 3 points. 1 point in front of them are the 2 USRC teams. I can't see a way that LSW stay up. They've got 3 games left against the Templars, the PACC, and actually the last game against the USRC Vagabonds. So they're going to have to beat the Vagabonds. They're not going to beat Templars or Pakistan, right? So they've got to hope that Vagabonds, who have got 6 games left, don't win another game, or USRC Elite don't win another game, and then it'll all come down to that last game to who gets relegated.
Oh, it's like a big maths board.
Yeah, I really can't see them staying up, or at best they're going to have one shot at it in the last game of the year.
That'd be interesting.
Down. It will be, actually. It will be. No, it's really, really heated up, that competition. Vagabonds still got 6 games to play. Templars, they're off. They're on top, equal with Pakistan Association. So it's a really, really tight comp. Sunday Division 2. There were a few matches over the break in Sunday Division 2, and one last weekend where the Sri Lanka Lions took on the Cricket Hong Kong Dragons minus Jason Loy.
Jason Loy, broken thumb.
No.
True. Saturday.
Really?
Broke it in Saturday competition.
Last weekend?
I'm not sure exactly when, but it was broken and he was out, so Arthur Chu took over the captaincy.
Yeah, well, you nearly say with Jason out, the Lions might have even gone in favourites if you were setting a market on that one. Anyway, the Lions batted first, and a brilliant even 100 off 98 balls from Kumar Singh came in at 3, and that laid the platform for a score of 235 all out after 46 overs, and a 5 for 44 from Thinlay Kenchub. Outstanding effort with the ball.
Yeah, and earlier in the season, Sri Lankan Lions thrashed the Dragons. But No Jason Loy, no problems for the Dragons. 50 not out off 36 for Chia, capitalising on an earlier 44 from Kinchit, and a 42 from Lai saw the Dragons home in the 47th, their second win of the season.
Well, Loy might have been out, but he's still top of the batting leaderboard. He's 448 runs at a wonderful average of 74. Van Zanziel, 357 at 89, and Mo Khan, 300 at an average of 100, 276 of them, of course, in one inning. So he's got 276 and 24 in his other knocks. Bowling leaderboard, you mentioned, captain last weekend, Arthur Choi. He's often gone on 18 wickets. Atif Fayaz from the LSW Knights, he's on 12, and Henry Soy again from the Dragons, 11. So two of the top three bowlers, wicket-taking wise, are Dragons, which is fantastic. And the table, Bushy, have a look at that.
Let's have a look at the top. The Wanderers played 6-1-5. They've got 11 points in second. The other Hong Kong Cricket Club team, Optimus, played 6-1-4-2 losses for 8 points in third. It's the Lions after that loss. 2 wins, 3 losses and 5 points on the board. Below them, Infidels played 4, 2 and 2 for their 4 points. Well, actually, the next 2 are also on 4 points. It's all coming down to net run rate there. Little So-On Knights on 4 points. And at the bottom, the Dragons, with that win, they moved to 4 points.
Yeah, if you look at that table, the Wanderers look off and gone, but there's a huge clash this weekend. Infidels have only played the 4 games, sitting on 4 points, and there's no panic stations for them because they've played a lot less games than Optimus, etc. But if they were to lose to the Wanderers, it does really put the pressure right on them to reach that grand final of proper promotion possibilities. So, yeah, very interesting there. We'll know a lot more next week. Saturday, Division 1, last weekend, Lama. They could continue their unlikely march. One of the boys actually from Lama reached out on Insta over the break and said, the Lama train is rolling on. It was fantastic, and it is rolling on. They had a last over thriller over the Yotters, and they're right up the top of the table, which we'll take you through in a minute. The Gap Ramblers smashed Craig and Gower, and they're having a dreadful season. I know Tom Ingram's rock solid, but he's got to be. But geez, they've been dreadful.
You're getting another Instagram message from Tom, aren't you?
They've really been dreadful. And on paper, they're so much better than what the results have been. Anyway, and the Crusaders, they picked up a rare win. They just absolutely fell over the line, 8 down over the USRC Lions. I thought they were going to throw it away, typical Crusader style.
No nails left of that game. I'm like, come on. You got this. You got this. Why don't you got this? Why don't you got that? Okay, you're fine. You finally got this.
Batting leaderboard. Ankur Vashishta, the Otters, he's top with 356, a touch under 60. Samad Khan holds on to second. He's on 329. And Saad Mohammed Nawaz, USRC Lions, 267. The bowling leaderboard, Niaz Ali from the Tartars, he's on 15. Mustafa Iqbal, again, Tartars, 14. They're splitting them. Then you've got Adita Kanthan from the Crusaders, Shelton Jada Cruz from the Yotters, and Dash Vora, they're all on 13. Table, Bushy.
All right, top of the table, KCC Tartars played 7, won 5 of them. They're on 11, but also on 11 points. It's Lama. Lama doing Lama things. In third place on 10 points, it's the Gap Ramblers from HKCC. 9 points for Little Saiwan Sky Warriors. Then 3 teams on 7 points. HKCC Nomads, USRC Lions, and the Indonesia Club Yotters. 2 on 6 points, Charlie Bears and the KCC Crusaders. On 5 points, Pakistan Association Cricket Club Rising Stars. Then down the bottom in relegation areas are the Punjab Lions on 3 points and Craig and Gower on 2.
Yeah, from the Yotters down, you can basically rule out as far as making the grand final is concerned. It's going to be very hard for the Nomads and the Lions in front of that. Even probably hard for the Sky Warriors. So it probably comes down to 3 teams now. Tartars, Lama and the Gap Ramblers, I think, for the 2 spots in the grand final. That's a really tight competition. Down the bottom, we won't talk about it tonight, but we'll talk a lot about it in coming weeks about the relegation battle because it is on. Anyway, Saturday Division 2, a couple of games with the Lancers continuing their dominance, beating LSW Thunder. And despite scoring 252, the Saracens lost to the LSW leaders. In that match, a big 117 off just 80 balls for Harun Rawat for the leaders. And Hamza Jawad, he scored 103 off 82 balls for the Saracens.
Keeping up our rule of don't pick the Saracens.
Yeah, they're just rock solid with us, aren't you? You better bet against them every week. You make a fortune. Batting leaderboard, Ashwan Dakania from HKU. We'll get to the table in a minute. They're doing fantastically well. He scored 326. Hamza Jawad, 316. Chris Ryan from Kaitak, he's 308. Bowling leaderboard, Asad Ashfaq from the Lancers. He's got 20 wickets. Rupesh Patard, Lancers on 17. LSW, Paraspreet Singh, Praveen Kumar, and Nikat Singh from the Shurias. They're all on 16. It's the table there. Bushy,
Well, we've got two teams moving clear at the top. Right at the top, SEC Lancers on 16. Right behind them, HKU on 15. In third, it's Diasqua Little Saiwan Leaders on 12. Two teams on 11, USRC Tigers and Hong Kong Cricket Club Witherers on 10 points. Little Saiwan Thunder on 9. It's Kai Tak. 6 points for India Club Suryas. 5 points for Laguna Gully. On 3 points, it's the Centaurs, and two teams at the bottom, KCC Saracens on 2 and CCC Hung Si on 2.
Yeah, the Lancers and HKU, they look off and gone as far as promotion is concerned. Really, the only one who can put pressure on them is the one with games in hand. It's USRC Tigers. They are still a realistic chance, but they've got to play HKU. Tell you what the disappointment is, the Witherers. They've been very disappointing from Hong Kong Cricket Club. Just sitting mid-table there, effectively out of promotion position at this stage of the season. That is it this week, Bushy, for outs and ins.
Are we not doing Friday Masters League?
Like, the day we start doing Friday Masters League is the day that we've given up.
But I've finally made my debut for Friday Masters. No, I don't want to talk about it.
15 seconds wrap up.
We lost.
Okay.
I took a wicket.
That's done. That's it for outs and ins.
It's time for ins and outs, with all the weekend senior games covered. Here's Butters.
All right, ins and outs. Huge weekend of cricket, of course, the Premier League Grand Final. We'll talk about that. But we've also got 4 Saturday Div 1 games, and we've got 2 Saturday Div 2 games. Jamie Atkinson's hung around to give his thoughts on this weekend's game, which is fantastic. Thank you, Jamie.
Hopefully better with my predictions this time than last time.
Yeah,
So
let's
have to
there you go. But Bushy always goes first in the tradition of ins and outs. So, Premier League Grand Final, Bushy, what do you think?
Don't put me on the spot.
Oh, sorry,
with the captain
we've
here.
got Sunday League Division 2 we'll cover as well, of course. But, Premier League Grand Final, KCC versus HKCC.
Oh, it's such a tough one. Neutral ground. Neither team's played there. They have people that train there. I don't want to put the curse on, but I think KCC will get 5 wins for the season.
I think it's tough. It's really toss of the coin. I think Bubba Hyatt hasn't scored runs this season pretty much at all. 60 runs across the 4 games, so he's due. There's no doubt about that.
He's had 2 6 and outs in the last 2 games.
I look at that HKCC batting lineup, and it's so super strong. I'm only going to pick Kowloon Cricket Club for one reason. I mean, Luke Jones, I think he's absolutely fantastic. But then I look at the KCC spin attack of Pascoe and Barkett.
And also Danielle.
Absolutely. And Danielle, who's taken a few wickets this year as well. He's leading run scorer, but he's chipped in with a few wickets. So I just think, just in that spin bowling area, I think there's more options for KCC than there is for HKCC. Jamie, we're not even going to ask you for a tip.
That's silly.
Yeah, no comment. Yeah.
Exactly. So we're both with KCC. Let's write that down so we've got that there for next week. But
it's a bit harsh. Jamie wouldn't know, but Kinchit did ask us if we were supporting HKCC at the end of the interview.
And we're neutral, right? We're absolutely neutral.
But when we have to be put on the spot by Botters ins and outs.
I've tipped against Kowloon a number of times this season across the leagues. No worries at all. It's not about that. It's about who you think will win. And it wouldn't surprise me. I mean, Mark Casilla, we know how good he is. We know how good Nazukat is. I say Bubba hasn't scored runs. Nazukat hasn't scored as many runs as he probably hoped. He could come out and score 150 off 120 and it's game over.
Actually, speaking of that, we didn't mention it in the earlier interview, but last weekend Azaz Khan had a bit of a strain. He was off the ground for most of the fielding. He didn't come back after, I think he bowled 3 or 4 overs. He's good to go.
Yeah, he was a bit unwell in the build up to the game. He wasn't particularly 100% when he played, but I know he was trying to fight through it, and he just after sort of.
So it was an illness, not a strain.
It was more of an illness, yeah.
Okay, so he's good to go.
All right. So whilst the grand final's going on up at Mission Road, there is a huge game in Sunday Division 2. It's the HKCC Wanderers, who are top of the table and leading the charge as far as promotion is concerned, up against the KCC Infidels, who will be without. We suspect, we don't know because the teams haven't been announced as yet. The Wanderers will be without Adil Mahmood, you would think, who will be in the grand final for HKCC, and you would suspect the Infidels will be without both Mo Khan and Atiq Iqbal. So, Bushy, what's your thoughts there?
Wanderers.
Oh, you didn't have to think about that very much.
You take Atiq and Mo out, that's hard work for the Infidels.
Yeah, I think on the batting side, they're going to look to... Balsara and Botfield at the top of the order as far as that's concerned. I think Atiq is the big loss as far as the bowling is concerned, so I'm going to tip the Wanderers also.
I'm going to go for the Infidels. Wanderers top of the table. I know they've been playing well this season, but going to go for Infidels away at HKCC. I know the team will be up for that anytime there's a game at HKCC. The KCC side are going to be fired up, so I'm going to go for the Infidels.
Yeah, and again, it wouldn't surprise me. The Infidels up there, they normally really do perform well. It's backs to the wall. They've only played the 4 games, so there's still a massive chance of promotion of getting into that grand final. They are every chance. I just think the Wanderers, I think they might have a little bit too much for them. Anyway, that's Sunday Div 2 done. On to Saturday Div 1. The LSW Sky Warriors up against the USRC Lions, Bushy.
Yeah, it's a bit tough. I mean, Little Saiwan sitting in 4th, but they've played 7, and I'll back the Little Saiwan Sky Warriors.
Yeah, I'm with you as well. USRC Lions lost last week to Crusaders. They've had a really good year, actually, the Lions. It wouldn't surprise if they fought back, but I'm with Sky Warriors.
I'm actually going to go Lions with this one. There's a few players who've got a bit of Premier League experience for the Lions. I know they missed out last week against Crusaders, but I'm going to go for USRC in that game.
All right, top of the table clash. This is a big one. Tartars and Lama, who were promoted this year, and have just gone from strength to strength. They've been unbelievable. They're just going fantastically well, just wins after wins after wins, and they're going to travel down to Kowloon Cricket Club to take on the top of the table Tartars, Bushy.
I love the Llama. I'm going the Llama.
Going the Lama. I think this is where Lama are going to come down to earth with an absolute thud, and I'm tipping the Tartars, and I'm tipping the Tartars by a margin. Jamie.
I'm also going to go with the Tartars. I know Lama have won here this season, but there's a certain opening bowler for the Tartars who I think will be up for the game. I don't think he'll be...
leading wicket taker, left arm.
Absolutely. I think he's going to be a handful on Saturday, so I'm going to go with the Tartars.
I think Tartars by a good margin there. PACC Rising Stars again on paper. Very strong, just haven't put the performances on the board down the bottom of the ladder up against the Nomads. The Rising Stars are off a win against the Punjab Lions. What do you think, Bushy?
Nomads.
Nomads for Bushy, without hesitation. I'm going to have to go the same, I think. I think Nomads will win that one. Jamie?
I'll make it 3 from 3. I'll also say Nomads at home as well. I think they'll take that one.
Hat-trick there for the Nomads. The last one in Div 1, Charlie Bears up against Tom Ingram's Jingsun. We mentioned earlier, I said before the break that they were an absolute special to be relegated. Craig and Gower. Ingram reached out to us over Instagram and said that won't be happening, and then they got rolled for 50-odd last week. What do you think, Bushy?
Well, I think Tom's got a big day out if he wants to not get relegated, but Charlie Bears.
Charlie Bears. Having said all of that, Tom Ingram, I'm with you. You're going to win this one.
Oh, really?
You're going to win this one.
Oh,
this is where the fight back begins. I'm tipping Craig and Gower.
I'm also going to do the same. I know Ingram's going to be out there, but also going to be Elliot Andrews there too. He's going to be fired up, wanting to make sure CCC aren't anywhere near that Div 2 for next season.
That
so
one's up.
CCC.
It's up at PKVR Park where we know anything is possible.
I'm sure last year I sworn off the Charlie Bears and they'd ruined me, but this is the week, Charlie Bears. Prove it to me.
All
Prove me that I need to keep backing the Charlie Bears.
All right. Anyway, 2 of us with Craig and Gower, 1 with the Bears. Into Saturday Div 2, which is really hotting up as well. Centaurs versus Kaitak. This one's out of Gin Drinkers Bay, Bushy.
Kaitak.
Yes, Centaurs. Jamie.
It's a bit of a personal spot for me as well. I did have a season for the Centaurs about 15 years ago. So
hang on, what? You're an ex-Centaur.
Ex-Centaur. One Saturday season for the Centaurs. A good friend of mine, Mark Delora, was a schoolmate of mine. He got me to play for them for one season. Really, really enjoyed it. Really nice bunch of guys. So hope they pick up the win on Saturday. I'm going to back the Centaurs.
I reckon they take you batting 5 or 6 out there on Saturday.
They've won one game. They'll take you any day of the week. Doesn't matter if you batted at 11.
All right, you're tipping your old club, the Centaurs. Into the last one. Wrap it up with Laguna Gully versus India Club Assuras out at Cam Tin, where anything can happen.
These are middle to lower order teams.
Laguna have been disappointing. They were relegated into this league and then no chance of promoted back, just like Kaitak, to be honest. Who are you tipping?
Oh, Sirius.
Yeah, it's toss of a coin.
It is.
I'll take the home team as well. I'll go Sirius. Jamie?
We go India Club as well.
Hat-trick there. That's it. Huge weekend from Premier League to Sunday Div 2. Both Saturday leagues underway. Huge this weekend. That's it for Ins and Outs this week. All right, Sky Plaza Road. There's the plane. Everyone knows what that means. Well, sometimes it means Hong Kong are going out of the country. And some of them are, but there's going to be a lot coming in as well, Bushy. This is absolutely fantastic on the men's side. A lot of cricket coming up.
Huge amount of cricket. I've just got all of February blocked, having to call all the games down at Ting Kwong Road Recreation.
Make sure you've got your lozenges ready.
And I know, right?
We've got the one-day tri-series with Malaysia and Canada beginning on January 31, which culminates in a final on February 4. And then, and I like this concept, they did it last year as well, the third place team will play the Hong Kong A team on February 5. I'm really looking forward to that series, Bushy.
Yep, it's going to be good and it's all going to be covered. All of this, what you're talking about, will be live.
All of it live, all of it on the social medias. Everyone get involved. Might be on icc.com, I reckon. No,
I think
not so much.
I think it's on Facebook and fan code in India.
All right, we'll update on that. First one, January 31. It kicks off the one-day tri-series, Malaysia, Canada, Hong Kong, with the Hong Kong A wrapping it up. Then there's 3 one-dayers against Malaysia on February 6, 8 and 9. Looking forward to that one as well. That's going to be fantastic. Then the East Asia Cup, with China and Japan coming into Hong Kong. That's going to be February 14, 17. T20 internationals, 2 on every day. 14 through 17. 14, 15, 16, and a final on 17. 2 T20Is every day.
Yeah, no South Korea. They're not coming. You know, normally the East Asia Cup involves 4 teams, but just the 3 this time. We've got 2 teams that are going to be coming out of snow into what is Hong Kong winter of 25 degrees.
Well, that's cold for us.
Yeah, it's cold for us, but poor old Canada and Japan are going to get heat stroke.
But Japan, they were quite strong at the Asia Games.
Yeah, they're going to be a good team.
They performed really well. I'm looking forward to seeing them on home track here in Hong Kong. Then, and we'll cover this.
And also, I should mention, Canada, they're in the World Cup.
Oh, they are. Yeah, this is part of their prep for the World Cup.
Yeah, so that's big teams.
No, it's really important, and it's a really, really big series. And I tell you what, absolute credit for Cricket Hong Kong for bring all this together, have so many games over this period. It's just absolutely wonderful. We'll talk about it later in the podcast. It means the Premier League T20 has been pushed back a little bit to fit in with the windows. I think it's all figured out really, really well. It's going to culminate later in the year, back in April, where, of course, Hong Kong are going to go to the T20 International Premier Cup qualifiers, to the 2025 Asia Cup. I think that one's in Oman.
I've been told whispers it might be in Oman, and I might just go and do the podcast from there.
Oman is beautiful.
Yeah, I might go.
Went there for the under-19 qualifiers. It was beautiful. Yeah, no, great place. Don't miss out on Oman. The grounds are far away enough from Yemen not to be worried. It's all fine. Under-19s, we covered that earlier. They've got big Division 2 qualifiers coming up. Then we're on to the women's. Well, they're down in Bunbury, Bushy's home territory. Any surprises in that squad, Bushy?
Well, I'll run through the squad and then I'll give you some of the results because the results aren't online too much and there's no live coverage of it. So, Kari Chan, the captain's down there. Speedster Alison Siu, Bella Poon, Betty Chan, who will come up in the birthday chat very shortly. Cindy Ho, Dorothea Chan, Emma Lai, Ikra Sahar, Mariko Hill has joined the team for the squad down there. Mariam Bibi, Lemon Chung, Shanzine Shazad, Tammy Chu, and Yasmin Dazwani.
Oh, all seems forgiven.
Well done. Good team going down to Bunbury. And the results, they played their first game on the 15th against the Bunbury and District Cricket Association women's team. Hong Kong, China batted first, put on 117 for 9, and Bunbury and District could only manage 82 for 8 in that game. Mariam scoring 34, Dorothea 25, Betty Chan getting a 3 for 20. Now remember, Betty was dropped from the final of the international series earlier late last year, I should say, but she's back in the side and gets a 3 for. Ikra with a 2 for 17 and Alison 2 for 9. And a game today played against a higher level team, the under-18 Western Australian women's team.
That'd be a very strong team.
You'd expect. WA always very strong. WA put on 108 for 7. Now, I don't know anything about how many overs, or obviously they batted 20, but Hong Kong China chased it down 109 for 5, a half century for Mariko Hill.
Oh, that's fantastic. That would be a very strong lineup, that under-18s team from WA. So they're going well down there, the ladies.
Yeah, it's a good warm-up as well for them. They've got more internationals coming up later this year, I believe.
This is a very exciting few months period we've got in front of us in Sky Plaza Road. It's going to feature heavily on the podcast, on the 8 for 52 podcast. We cover the locals, we cover the internationals. That's it this week for Sky Plaza Road. And now it's time for Bushy's Birthday Bonanza. Your favourite time, my favourite time. It's Bushy's Birthday Bonanza. Over to you, Bushy.
Well, we're going to go back a week because we were supposed to come back last week, but somebody was off having a lovely holiday in Australia and didn't come back in time.
Just a little extension.
Instead of 4 weeks off, we had 5 weeks off. So I'll do 2 birthdays from last week. One, a former guest, My Story guest on the podcast, Imran Arif.
Immy.
Yep, from USRC. He turned 40 on the 15th.
Oh, wow. Immy, happy birthday, my mate.
Sharing a birthday with Imran, Shaquille Iqbal from the Charlie Bears. He turned 38 on the 15th.
Oh, wow. Happy birthday.
And today, the day we're recording the podcast, a legend of Hong Kong China cricket, Betty Chan.
She's celebrating down in Bunbury, Western Australia.
Never a better place to be celebrating a birthday.
Is Mrs. Bush still in Bunbury?
My mum?
Yeah.
Yeah. I told my dad to go down and watch. I don't know. He hasn't
Why
told
don't you
me.
have all the girls over for family dinner?
Oh, well, my dad is as antisocial as I am, times 10. So
Yeah, but your mum's not.
Yeah.
Your dad can go out and have
This
all
is
the girls over.
True. Have a barbecue down at the Bush
Lovely.
Ranch. Yeah.
Lovely. Let me arrange that.
It's a bit late. Betty's birthday's today.
All right.
And we're recording. And a final birthday next Thursday. So before we go to the episode 18, so we'll do the birthday on the 25th, turning 46. Umpire and player extraordinaire. Can you guess?
Shelton J. Da Cruz.
Correct. Who apparently now is known as Sheraton.
Yeah, there's a little story behind that. We might cover it later in the year. Sheraton J. Da Cruz. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Shelton. There's the Bushy's birthday bonanza for this week.
Hi, I'm Martin Gutsia, and you're listening to the 8452 podcast with Bodders and Butchie.
Oh, Bushy. It's that time of the week again. First time in 2024. We've got to shut this thing down, mate. Episode 17 is coming to an end.
It was huge.
It was massive, right? Premier League Grand Final this weekend, and both captains came on. Kinchit, Shah, Jamie Atkinson.
8 for 52 podcast gets all the big names in.
All the stars give up their time for the 8 for 52. Big Grand Final coming up. Really looking forward to it.
That's going to be huge, and I should say at this point, we're trialling new stuff ready for the international. So we're going to do live toss and pitch report, which we've never done before for the broadcast. I've got huge new sound effects microphones. I've got big long cables so I can walk across towards the change rooms and do interviews around the ground. It's going to be a really good broadcast. Tune in.
Cannot wait. Absolutely. Everyone out there, tune in. It's going to be massive. It's the Premier League Grand Final. Of course, we've got other games on. Big one up at HKCC at the same time. Sunday
You'll be up there
too. I'll be up there for that one. And we've got the Saturday League games. We've got it all going on. And, of course, we've got all the international cricket coming up. Oh, I can't wait for that.
Oh, I'm looking forward to that. January 31st. What a start. Bang, 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 bang. So many games in a row. I'm ready.
Malaysia, Canada coming in as part of their World Cup warm-ups, and then the East Asia Cup coming up. We'll have it all covered on the 8 for 52 podcast. The ladies are away. They've got big tournaments coming up in front of them. I can't wait, Bushy.
Yeah, when they get back, we'll have a chat. Maybe we'll find Andy. We haven't had a chat to Andy Cottam, the head
We're
coach.
going to have to get Andy Cottam on.
I know, right?
We really are. We have to.
When they've got that next big tournament, we'll get Andy on and see where the team's at. But at the moment, we've said in the Sky Plaza Road, they've won 2 games already down there in Bunbury. So the women's team is looking good. And we're looking forward to the men's team going international games right here in Hong Kong.
Well, we've kicked 2024 off in exactly the way I wanted, in a massive way, Bushy. That's it for the 8 for 52 podcast, for the first one for 2024. You can listen to us next week.
See ya.
The 8 for 52 theme song is the coin toss. from the band The Duckworth Lewis Method. Find them on Apple iTunes and YouTube and download that song and all their other cricket-related music.
The 8 for 52 podcast is written, produced and published by Matt Botfield and Aaron Bush for Trip Ahead Limited. Copyright 2024.